Yo, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video, and today we gotta talk about this Team GO Rocket Takeover event, which is going to be happening really soon. During the upcoming Galarian Expeditions in-game event, we're going to be having a Team GO Rocket Takeover. And this is a pretty big one because not only are they introducing a new Shadow Legendary, which you can get from Giovanni battles, there's going to be a couple of Shadow Pokemon that are going to be in the Grunt and Team GO Rocket leader rotation that might actually be worth it, and I'll explain why. But real quick, let's go over all the details for this event. The Team GO Rocket Takeover event for the Galarian Expedition event is going to be starting on Tuesday, October 8th at 12 o'clock a.m. local time, and it's going to go until Friday, October 11th at 8 o'clock p.m. local time. Here are going to be the event bonuses. Team GO Rocket grunts and balloons are going to appear a lot more frequently, and then you can use charge TMs to help a Shadow Pokemon forget the charge attack frustration. These are very important event bonuses, especially because when it comes to removing frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon, that's really what enables them to be really good. And then of course, having more Team GO Rocket grunts in balloons and Pokestops means you're going to get a lot more fragments, which is going to lead to more Team GO Rocket leader battles. So that is something that I always feel like is a super important bonus, but it's something that is not often highlighted when it comes to these takeover events. Make sure you fully utilize it so that you have a whole bunch of 12 km eggs after this event, as well as a bunch of team leader battles in. Now, the big highlight for this event is going to be the new Shadow Legendary, which is going to debut in Giovanni battles. And this is going to be Shadow Heatran. During this event and a little bit afterwards, you're going to be able to get Shadow Heatran by defeating Giovanni after using Super Rocket Radar. So if you have any stocked up, maybe it's time to use them because this is actually a relevant legendary. Now, considering this is a takeover event, we're going to see new Shadow Pokemon appearing in grunts and team leader battles. The following Shadow Pokemon are now going to be obtainable: Shadow Caterpie, Shadow Mankey, Shadow Roggenrola, Shadow Venipede, Shadow Carablast, and Shadow Shelmet. I do predict that Caterpie, Mankey, and Roggenrola are going to be the team leader battles, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm just very curious to see how these Shadow Pokemon are going to play out. Now, after this event, the following Shadow Pokemon are going to be available in Shadow Raids. In 1-star Shadow Raids, you're going to see Shadow Machop, Shadow Grimer, Shadow Execute, as well as Shadow Sudowoodo. And then in 3-star Raids, you're going to see Shadow Pinsir, Shadow Sableye, and Shadow Mawile. You're going to get field research tasks that's going to award you with mysterious components, charge TMs, as well as fast TMs. And then there's going to be Pokestop showcases during this event, which is going to be themed around some of the event Pokemon. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a great way to get yourself a bunch of premium items. Now, also keep in mind that there's not going to be any new wild spawns with this takeover event, but that's because it's going to be in conjunction with the Galarian Expedition event. So you're still going to see the wild spawns for that event on top of this event. This is really just supplemental to the Galarian Expedition event. So yeah, I know some players might be disappointed that they're not going to be seeing some new Pokemon in the wild, but it's really because this is just a takeover event for another event that's going to be ongoing. Alright, so the notable standout is, of course, Shadow Heatran. That has a lot of implications for all different aspects of Pokemon Go. I mean, it's going to be a top-tier fire-type raid attacker. If you can get yourself a 100% IV, I do think it's going to be worth maxing out. And I do think that for the Master League, it will make some sort of impact. It's already a really good Pokemon for the Master League. I would argue it's one of the most underrated Pokemon for the Master League. And having the Shadow version means you're going to dish out an insane amount of damage. I mean, it doesn't really matter how you build out Heatran. You could use it as a Fire type or a Steel type. It's one of the top tier Pokemon that we've had for a very long time. And now that we're getting the Shadow version, it might have some very strong implications. Now, it's not just with Shadow Heatran, there is of course a bunch of new Shadow Pokemon that are coming to Pokemon Go. I'm really curious to see how Shelmet and Carablast are going to do when it comes to their evolved forms. In case you didn't know, both of them are really good for the Ultra League, so having the Shadow version might have some very strong implications. I mean, when it comes to the Go Battle League, we usually see constant shifts in the meta when it comes to the Great League, but when it comes to the Ultra League as well as the Master League, they tend to stay relatively the same. I mean, you might see certain Pokemon go from rank 1 to rank 5 or something like that, but in general, the Master League and Ultra League tend to play out very similarly season by season, but introducing a bunch of these new Shadow Pokemon might actually shake things up a bit in those leagues. So I'm really hoping that is the case this time around because it's been a while since we've had some exciting Shadow Pokemon. Now unfortunately, we do not have any good PvE Pokemon that are going to be coming. I mean, the argument can be made for Annihilate because we're getting Shadow Mankey. Maybe that's going to be a really good fighting type. But when it comes to that type, there are just so many different good options when it comes to rate damage that I really do not think that Annihilate is going to make any kind of headway against some of the top tier Pokemon that we already have. But who knows, maybe we'll see some shakeups within the top tier fighting types, I really do not know, but at the very least, it's definitely going to be in the running to be a useful Shadow Pokemon. And then of course, it's been a while since Annihilate has been relevant within the Go Battle League. I think in the last season, it was a top tier Pokemon, and unfortunately, it got nerfed this current season, so it's not going to be near the top by any means, even the Shadow version. But maybe in the future, they're going to buff up Counter once again, so that Annihilate will be a top tier Pokemon. So maybe it's good to have a Shadow Annihilate right now, so that you're ready for that change. I really do not know if that's ever going to happen. I mean, the current meta seems to be the way that it's going right now when it comes to PvP, but who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, this is definitely an exciting Team GO Rocket Takeover event. I am actually looking forward to this one. And then of course, there's always the common bonuses that we get with takeover events that are very important, like being able to TM away frustration. That is always a very big thing with these takeover events, so make sure you do not miss out on that. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding this Team GO Rocket Takeover event down below. Are you looking forward to a particular Shadow Pokemon coming to Pokemon Go, or are you going to skip this out? Definitely share the reasons why in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You all make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the absolute best way you could do so is by joining my Patreon. If you become a paid Patreon member, you get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids and the friendship system, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you can do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow so that you can keep up with what's going on in my daily life. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all in the next one.